Hey, Lion, so good to see you. We're going to continue reading Wonder, the most wonderful novel. Don't forget, we're reading to try to figure out what is the theme or themes in Wonder, and why do we think the author wrote this novel? We said that we think the author wrote this to instruct or to teach us a lesson. In my reading journal, I recorded that on a previous day, we think the message the author's trying to teach us is to treat each other's hearts carefully and make sure nobody ever feels alone or unworthy. And we've collected quite a bit of evidence to support that that might be the purpose for the author of writing this novel. Now, when we left off last time, we've collected some more evidence, and I just want to share what I had recorded. It was on page 94, and I wrote, Via felt left out because her best friends Miranda and Ellen excluded her over the summer, and they were acting differently. Via felt as if she was going to cry. So I felt like this was more evidence to treat people's hearts carefully and to make sure they don't feel alone or unworthy. When I read this and how she felt at being left out, it just really felt like it was trying to teach me a lesson and how important it is to treat each other's hearts carefully. And so I'm adding this to my author's purpose page because this is some more evidence that this could potentially be the purpose for writing this novel. Okay, and I want to say, even for adults, it is so important that as you read, you take notes. I like to do it after I finish reading my section for the day instead of immediately as I come across it. When you write it down immediately, it kind of interrupts the flow of the story. But as you've noticed, I put like a sticky note on a page that I know I want to go back to. That's like my signal. Okay, when I'm done reading today, go back to this page. Because I can tell you, if I hadn't recorded Miranda and Ella's names here, I would have forgotten that was their names. I would have remembered that it was about their friends leaving Via out, but I would have forgotten. So a good reader takes notes every day after they finish reading for the day. All right, now for the good part. So the chapter we're going to start with is An Apparition at the Door. Remember, we had left off where, we're hearing about Via's first day of school from her perspective. The author is using first-person narrative. Remember, the first part was from Augie's point of view. Now we're hearing from Via's point of view, and we just heard about her rough day at school. All right. An apparition at the door. Once I got up in the middle of the night because I was thirsty, and I saw Mom standing outside of Augie's room. Her hand was on the doorknob, her forehead leaning on the door, which was ajar. She wasn't going in his room or stepping out, just standing right outside the door, as if she was listening to the sound of his breathing as he slept. The hallway lights were out. The only thing illuminating her was the blue nightlight in August's bedroom. She looked ghost-like, standing there. Or maybe I should say angelic. I tried to walk back into my room without disturbing her, but she heard me and walked over to me. Is Augie okay? I asked. I knew that sometimes he would wake up choking on his own saliva if he accidentally turned over on his back. Oh, he's fine, she said, wrapping her arms around me. She walked me back into my room, pulled the covers up over me, and kissed me goodnight. She never explained what she was doing outside the door, and I never asked. I wonder how many nights she's stood outside his door, and I wonder if she's ever stood outside my door like that. What do you guys think? Why do you think Mom was standing outside of Augie's door? I'm wondering, I bet she was worried about him. And she just wanted to watch him sleep. And I bet she stood outside of Via's door like that too. Okay, the next chapter is Breakfast. Can you pick me up from school today? I said the next morning, smearing some cream cheese on my bagel. Mom was making August's lunch, American cheese and whole wheat bread, soft enough for Augie to eat. While August sat eating oatmeal at the table, Dad was getting ready to go to work. Now that I was in high school, the new school routine was going to be that Dad and I would take the subway together in the morning, which meant his having to leave 15 minutes earlier than usual. Then I'd get off at my stop and he'd keep going. And Mom was going to pick me up after school in the car. I was going to call Miranda's mother to see if she could drive you home again, Mom answered. No, Mom, I said quickly. You pick me up or I'll just take the subway. You know I don't want you to take the subway by yourself yet, she answered. Mom, I'm 15. Everybody my age takes the subway by themselves. She can take the subway home, said Dad from the other room, adjusting his tie as he stepped back into the kitchen. Why can't Miranda's mother just pick her up again? Mom argued with him. She's old enough to take the subway by herself, Dad insisted. Mom looked at both of us. Is something going on? She didn't address her question to either one of us in particular. You would know if you had come back to check on me, I said spitefully, like you said you would. Oh gosh, Via, said Mom, remembering now how she completely ditched me last night. She put down the knife she was using to cut Augie's grapes in half, still a choking hazard for him because of the size of his palate. I'm so sorry. I fell asleep in Augie's room. By the time I woke up, I know, I nodded indifferently. Mom came over, put her hands on my cheeks, and lifted my face to look at her. I'm really, really sorry, she whispered. I could tell she was. It's okay, I said. Via. Mom, it's fine. This time I meant it. She looked so genuinely sorry. I just wanted to let her off the hook. Let me let you in on a clue. New Midway Woodsboro Lions. Parents mess up too. She kissed and hugged me and returned to the grapes. So, is something going on with Miranda? She asked. Just as she's acting like a complete jerk, I said. Miranda's not a jerk, Augie quickly chimed in. She can be, I yelled. Believe me. Okay, then, I'll pick you up. No problem, Mom said decisively, sweeping the half grapes into a snack bag with the side of the knife. That was the plan all along anyway. I'll pick Augie up from school in the car, and then we'll pick you up. We'll probably get there about 3:45. No, I said firmly, before she'd even finished. Isabel, she can take the subway, said Dad impatiently. She's a big girl now. She's reading War and Peace, for crying out loud. What does War and Peace have to do with anything? Answered Mom, clearly annoyed. It means you don't have to pick her up in the car like she's a little girl, he said sternly. Via, are you ready? Get your bag and let's go. I'm ready, I said, pulling on my backpack. Bye, Mom. Bye, Augie. I kissed them both quickly and headed toward the door. Do you even have a Metro card? Mom said after me. Of course she has a Metro card, answered Dad, fully exasperated. Yeesh, Mom, stop worrying so much. Bye, he said, kissing her on the cheek. Bye, big boy, he said to August, kissing him on top of the head. I'm proud of you. Have a good day. Bye, Daddy. You too. Dad and I jogged down the stoop steps and headed down the block. Call me after school before you get on the subway, Mom yelled at me from the window. I didn't even turn around, but waved my hand at her so she knew I heard her. Dad did turn around, walking backward for his few steps. War and Peace, Isabel, he called out, smiling as he pointed at me. War and Peace. Genetics 101. Both sides of Dad's family were Jewish from Russia and Poland. Papa's grandparents fled and ended up in New York City at the turn of the century. Tata's parents fled the Nazis and ended up in Argentina in the 40s. Papa and Tata met at a dance on the Lower East Side while she was in a town visiting a cousin. They got married, moved to Bayside, and had Dad and Uncle Ben. Mom's side of the family is from Brazil. except for her mother, my beautiful grands, and her dad, Agosto, who died before I was born. The rest of Mom's family, all her glamorous aunts, uncles, and cousins, still live in Alto Leblon, a ritzy suburb south of Rio. Grands and Agosto moved to Boston in the early 60s and had Mom and Aunt Kate, who's married to Uncle Porter. Mom and Dad met at Brown University and have been together ever since. Isabel and Nate, like two peas in a pod, they moved to New York right after college. Had me a few years later. They moved to a brick townhouse in North River Heights, the hippie stroller capital of the Upper Manhattan, when I was about a year old. Not one person in the exotic mix of my family gene pool has ever shown any obvious signs of having what August has. I've pored over grainy sepia pictures of long dead relatives and babushkas, black and white snapshots of distant cousins in crisp white linen suits, soldiers in uniforms, ladies with beehive hairdos, Polaroids of bell bottom teenagers, and long haired hippies. And not once have I been able to detect even the slightest trace of August's face in their faces. Not a one. But after August was born, my parents underwent genetic counseling. They were told that August had what was to be a previously unknown type of mandibulofacial diastosis. Whoops. Sorry, guys. I had my timer on for something. Caused by an autosomal recessive mutation in the TCOF1 gene, which is located on chromosome 5, complicated by a hemifacial microsomia characteristic of OAV spectrum. Whew, that was a lot. Basically, it's just the reason why Augie has these facial differences. And so this is why they're explaining why this exists from a scientific standpoint. So sometimes these mutations occur during pregnancy. Sometimes they're inherited from one parent carrying that gene. Sometimes they're caused by the interaction of many genes, possibly in combination with environmental factors. This is called a multifactorial inheritance. So in other words, lots of different reasons why it happened. In August's case, the doctors were able to identify one of his single nucleotide deletion mutations. So, in other words, something had been deleted in his genetic makeup, and that made war on his face. The weird thing is, though you never know it from looking at them, both my parents carry that mutant gene, and I carry it too. Wow. So via, I guess it weighs heavily on her that she carries that gene and could pass that on. But I'm sure if she really thinks about it, her life would not be complete without Augie. Okay, the Punnett Square. If I have children, there's a 1 in 2 chance that I will pass on the defective gene to them. I made a pretty good prediction, didn't I? It's exactly what she's thinking. That doesn't mean they'll look like August, but they'll carry the gene that got double dosed in August and helped make him the way he is. If I marry someone who has the same defective gene, there's a 1 in 2 chance that our kids will carry the gene and look totally normal. A 1 in 4 chance that our kids will not carry the gene at all, and a 1 in 4 chance that our kids will look like August. If August has children with someone who doesn't have a trace of the gene, there's a 100% probability that their kid will inherit the gene. So in other words, they would inherit it. But a 0% chance that their kids will have a double dose of it, like August, which means they'll carry the gene no matter what, but they could look totally normal. If he marries someone who has the gene, their kids will have the same odds as my kids. This only explains the part of August that's explainable. There's that other part of his genetic makeup that's not inherited, but just terribly bad luck. Countless doctors have drawn little tic tac toe grids for my parents over the years to try and explain the genetic lottery to them. Geneticists use the Punnett squares to determine inheritance, recessive and dominant genes, probabilities, and chance. But for all they know, there's more they don't know. They can try to forecast the odds, but they can't guarantee them. They use terms like germline mosaicism. I probably said that wrong, guys. Chromosome rearrangement or delayed mutation to explain why their science is not an exact science. I actually like how doctors talk. I like the sound of science. I like how words you don't understand explain things you can't understand. There are countless people under words like germline mosaicism, chromosome rearrangement, or delayed mutation, countless babies who will never be born like mine. Interesting. Okay, Lions, we're going to leave off here. So these last two chapters were really explained that Augie and Via's parents have gone to doctors to try to figure out, so why did Augie inherit these facial differences? And what that means for Via and Augie, like if they could pass that on when they grow up and decide to have children. Okay, so we will continue reading and see if we can collect more evidence to support what we think the theme or the author's purpose might be for the story. All right, we'll keep reading tomorrow. Bye, Lions.